So looking at rhythm then, the vast majority of songs, the speed of the song stays the same all the way through. It could be a little bit like this, for example. Okay, so the speed of the song was exactly the same all the way through there, but I was varying the length of the notes. So I was using some short notes or fast notes, and I was also using some longer notes or slower notes. Okay, now when you keep the speed of the song all the same all the way through, what it means is generally the faster notes become twice as fast and the longer notes become twice as slow. So if you use the notes in different combinations, it makes the rhythm sound a bit more interesting, because if you don't, the same chord progression could sound a little bit like this. So much less like a proper song, for example. So how do we write the notes down? Well, the most common note, I'm just going to demonstrate this using open string 6. The most common note that you're going to use would be a 1-beat note. And how you write these down is you use a black dot, and it's also got a vertical line going up and down attached to it, which we call the tail. So each of those would last for 1 beat, like this. So there's the beats. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so going to slower notes, so the next slowest notes are twice as slow, and we write these using a clear dot or a white dot, but if it's on top of a line you can actually see the line through it, and this has also got a vertical tail. So these would sound like 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they last for 2 beats each, and then the slowest notes that you'll play last for 4 beats, so they're twice as slow again. And with these ones we just use a white dot or a clear dot, and there's no tail, there's no line coming off it. And so these would sound like 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also get faster than 1-beat notes, so twice as fast as a 1-beat note would be a half-beat note. And we write these using black dots again, with the vertical line, the vertical tail, but also we join them together because you often get more than one played at the same time, and we join them using a horizontal line going from left to right, and that's called a beam in music. So you can join 2 or more of them together using a beam, and they would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so they're half-beat notes, and the fastest notes that you'll play, although you probably won't look at these for a little bit, would be quarter-beat notes, which is twice as fast again, so you get 4 of them in each beat. And very similar to the half-beat notes, black dots with a vertical tail, but you join them with 2 horizontal beams going across, and you'll normally join 4 of them together if you've got 4 to play. So they would sound like 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So quite fast there. Okay, so there's the length of the different notes. If you ever have a half-beat note which is just on its own and you can't join it to another one, then the beam, the line that normally goes across, horizontal, that just hangs down, so that shows you it's a half-beat note as opposed to a 1-beat note. And if you've ever got a quarter-beat note and you just play that on its own, there's nothing to join it to, then that's just got the 2 horizontal beams, and they're hanging down as well. So that's it. They're the only notes that you need to understand or learn about for the moment, but there's actually different ways of naming them, unfortunately. So you might come across exactly the same notes, but people are calling them different names, so it's useful if you're aware of this. So the way music works, often you can think of it a little bit like maths, like dead easy maths. So sometimes people like to call the notes after the number of them that you can fit within each bar. So remember we were saying 4/4, 4 beats in a bar is the most common time signature. So starting with the slowest notes, we can basically fit one of those in a bar because it lasts for 4 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be classed as a whole note because it lasts for the whole bar. The next fastest are 2-beat notes, and we can fit 2 of these in a bar. So we split the bar in 2, so we call it a half. We call them half notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, for example. And then go into 1-beat notes. Now 4 beats in a bar, so we can we've got 1 note per beat, so we've got 4 beats there. So we can call them quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then with the half beat notes, if we fill the bar with those, then there's 8 of them in total, so we can call those 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and with the fastest ones, the quarter beat notes, we get 4 of them per beat, and we've got 4 beats, so you can get 16 of them in total in a bar. So sometimes people call them 16th notes. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Okay, and sometimes people also use the classical names for those notes as well, so if you ever come across those, hopefully you might be able to figure out what the notes actually mean. So the longest ones, the 4-beat notes, they can also be called a semibreve, that's just the classical name for them. The 2-beat notes, they can be called a minim, and then the 1-beat notes, they can be called a crotchet, and the half-beat notes, they can be called a quaver, and the fastest ones, the quarter beat notes, they can be called a semiquaver. But there's 3 different names for the notes, but they all sound exactly the same basically.